sure Alan shows up at your house tonight. We wait at your doorstep for you.
Nice guy, Dave.
I'll be sure to drop him off for you.
Yeah, you'll be a good guy.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm good, man. I had fun.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today. We are joined by Chief Ruben Garcia, Lieutenant Harper from the Lakeland Police Department, as well as our colleagues from One More Child Anti-Trafficking Organization, Jody Bennett, Dr. Mary Ann Thomas, and Krista Hicks. And I will lay out an overview of our operation that we worked with the Lakeland Police Department, the Winter Haven Police Department, the Haines City Police Department, and the St. Petersburg Police Department. Our goal here is to identify and stop human trafficking, identify victims of human trafficking and stop human trafficking. We did a 6-day operation. We arrested 154 people on 46 felony charges and 202 misdemeanor charges. Now, I'd like to point out, when you look at this wall, that these folks collectively had a total of 1,262 previous criminal charges. 567 were felony charges, 202 were misdemeanor charges, and we'll highlight some of those folks in just a minute. But the primary goal is to rescue victims from human trafficking and to arrest people that are buying human beings. And that's what these guys were doing when they were seeking the services of these ladies. In addition to that, because of the great work of our team that works child predators, and quite frankly, the two ladies that do that for us are simply the best, not in the state of Florida, but in the United States. We were able to identify, and we're going to talk about 2 child predators. I can tell you the deviant acts these folks wanted to engage in if we'd not made another arrest in the 6 days with the resources that we used. The fact that we got those 2 child sexual predators would have made it a grand slam week. If whoever calls me there would just wait till this press conference is over, I'll be glad to talk to them, but I'm busy right now. So, when you see the team that's together here, not only law enforcement, but our colleagues and friends from One More Child Anti-Trafficking, you see how serious we are. We will talk about their work in just a minute, and we'll let them expound upon it, but they had the opportunity to interview and interact with every one of those that we arrested. But where did they come from? You know, I'm disappointed 54 of them came from Polk County this time. You people in Polk County know better. You've been living under a rock or what? We don't allow this in Polk County, so figure it out. Quit coming to these operations unless, of course, you really like my county jail, because that's where you're going to end up. 44 were arrested from Hillsborough County. Now, you get the same news coverage. What's wrong with y'all? And Pinellas County as well. But let me tell our friends from Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, New Jersey, Georgia, Nevada, Michigan, Texas, Massachusetts, and North Carolina, who all got arrested. Welcome to Florida on vacation. You're going to leave on probation. 30 of these folks were married. That's right. Their wives were at home or at work, and they were out messing around with prostitutes and had the opportunity to bring HIV or AIDS home to their family. 8 of them were on public assistance. That's right. You, the taxpayer, were paying for them to go out and either solicit prostitution or provide services. So let's go through our poster children. Number 1, James Michaels. I can't say enough bad stuff about James Michaels. He's a child predator. He's a child sexual predator. He not only is a child sexual predator, he enjoys and deals in child pornography. He traveled from Lutz to Polk County thinking he was going to meet up with a 14-year-old boy, a child, to engage him in sexual conduct. Here's what he said: "I like to train newbies." And he said all kinds of ugly stuff that we can't talk about on television. When he arrived, he was in possession of more than 200 different pieces of child pornography. He talked about wanting to have unprotected sex with a child. And yet he admitted to us that he was HIV positive. Focus on this a minute. This is a 34-year-old man who said in his communication he was 24, like that makes a difference, who lied and talked about how clean he was when in fact he was HIV positive, when he bragged of and wanted to have unprotected sex with a child while he was HIV positive. There's not enough ugly words in the world to say about that man. So we charged him with additional charges, not only traveling to meet a minor, not only his communication to meet a minor, but about lying. It's against the law to lie about your HIV status and to lie about your age. He worked for Progressive Insurance and Sales. Well, Progressive, scratch him off. He ain't coming back to work. He's going to prison for a long time. He is the number 1 meanest, ugliest, nastiest person of all of them on that board. And he ranks among the ugliest and the nastiest that we've ever dealt with, and scariest, by the way. Then there's Warren Smith. He's 55. He certainly should know better by now. He's married. He was happily married. His wife's got to be having a fit. He's got adult children. But he thought he was traveling to have sex with a 14-year-old. That's right. He's a business analyst for Aetna, according to him. He described all kind of vicious, nasty sex acts that he wanted to have. And he lives in Riverview. He's also locked up in jail. This person is only second to James Michaels, 55 years old. So let's go through some of our others. Matthew Wojtaszek, common spelling. We'll provide it. That's my Polk County explanation of how you say his last name. He was a driver, possibly a pimp. The prostitute that he brought wouldn't cooperate. He's got a criminal history from prison for robbery where he was sentenced to 2 to 20 years. He has 22 previous criminal charges. He's from St. Petersburg, and he installs flooring. So if this guy shows up to install flooring at your house, you got a real loser. I doubt he's any good at installing flooring either. And then there's Tanika Pearson. We're showing these folks because you think, oh, this is just misdemeanors, second-degree misdemeanors, minor nonviolent crimes. Well, Tanika's 39. She's from Haines City. She's got previous charges for escape, robbery, resisting arrest, battery on a firefighter, 20 previous criminal charges. When she's not busy prostituting, she's a cook at Popeye's Chicken. Doesn't that make you want to eat at Popeye's? Her advertisement was, "I'm large and in charge." Well, she's large and in the county jail as a result of coming there to solicit men to engage her in sex. And then there's Jennifer West from St. Pete. She is a waitress at a restaurant. She has 15 felony and misdemeanor charges. She's been to prison for what? Robbery. How about Keith Strang? Old Keith is 49 years old. Keith was sent to prison in Georgia for 7 years for robbery. He has a history of 29 felony and misdemeanor charges. He is married. I know his wife is not pleased with him. She might have been upset about the robbery charge, but I bet she's not near as mad about the robbery charge as she is about him out hooking up with ladies and paying money that probably she earned legitimately. Then there's Kevin Burt Green. He's our oldest one this time. He's 69. He was soliciting a prostitute. He has a history of vehicular homicide from Costa Rica. They will not extradite him. He's married and he lives in Polk County. We even got with Costa Rica and said, we'll pay to send him back. They said, no thanks, you keep him. That's right. He killed somebody in Costa Rica and they won't extradite him. And when we offered to pay, all they've got to do is take him back and hold him accountable. They go, you just keep him. Well, he's got another misdemeanor. I think that's a problem. How about Mahassan Valentine? He's 40, or she's 40. She brought her 9-year-old son. That's right, she came to turn a trick, brought her 9-year-old son, who stayed in the car with her boyfriend, not the child's father. She gets $500 a month in food stamps or an EBT card. She's unemployed. She lives in Lakeland. Okay, let's wrap our minds around that. We as taxpayers are paying our hard-earned wages, and we don't mind helping those in need. But she's making $500 a month off of us to go out and sell herself as a prostitute. I got a problem with that. A real problem with that. And then there's Pedro Analusi. Pedro is from Santa Rosa Beach. He's 28. He solicited a prostitute. Did I tell you that he's in the U.S. Army and the E6 Staff Sergeant assigned to recruiting in Panama City? Did I tell you that he's married? Did I tell you that he and his wife and his children were here on vacation so he could take his children to Legoland? Are you kidding me? Pedro, what is wrong with you? You're here with your wife and children to go to Legoland, and you're out soliciting prostitutes? Come on, man. Are you nuts? I bet Mama's not proud. I know the U.S. Army's not proud, and they both know about it now. So, then we have Camilo Valencia. He's 30. He's a custodian at Kathleen High School Aerospace. He was charged with a count of battery and soliciting because he actually grabbed our undercover. He left his 10-year-old child with his mother while he solicited a prostitute. He gets $593 a month in federal assistance, according to him. Think about that. Did he take some of our taxpayers' money to solicit the prostitute? He left the child home with his mother? I mean, what do you tell? Hey, Mom, can you watch my son a while I go out and hook up with a prostitute? What do you tell your mom? What does your mom say? Have a good night, son? Be careful? Don't get HIV? Duck Grady? And then there's Robert Shackelford. He's 58. He's from Worthington, Ohio. He's married. He's an IT manager for Stonecrop Technologies in Lakeland. Apparently they have offices here and in Ohio. Do you know he didn't want to cooperate and tell us who he was? Can you imagine that? He's an IT manager. He didn't want to tell us who he is. Newsflash, Robert, watch the evening news. Or you can go to Facebook Live and see your picture. When you're here visiting from Ohio, we expect you to behave or we're going to lock you up. And it makes no difference whether or not you cooperate. We have these magical systems that can find out who you are and that you violated the law. So at the end of the day, it's important to understand that these ladies couldn't work if it weren't for these guys here. And we worked very hard together to protect people and to help people. So let me turn it over to Chief Garcia for a few words of wisdom, and then we'll turn it over to Krista, who's going to speak to us. Chief.
Good morning. You know, when you look at that board, you have to wonder how far, it's just not those folks on that board, but how far that spider's out, you know. How many families are actually affected by the activity of these folks. There's a lot of hard work that went into those 6 days. But if it was for nothing more than just those couple of guys that are in the middle of that, they're true predators, and those couple of juveniles that they were able to rescue out of this sexual business, that would be an operation well served. I'd take my short time this morning just to thank the detectives and supervisors that pulled this operation off. Excuse me. I want you to think about, they don't unhear all the stuff they hear when they do these operations. They don't unsee all the stuff they see when they see them. They have to go out and deal with folks who are actually engaged in this type of stuff, and then they have to go home and try to be a normal human again and interact with their family. So that's 6 long days that these supervisors and detectives work to locate these folks. So I think we certainly owe a great debt of thanks to them. So I just want to tell them thank you this morning and let you know that the Lakeland Police Department certainly appreciates our partnership with the Polk County Sheriff's Office and the other law enforcement agencies. So thank you.
Our community cares about stopping the buying and selling of sex. It's unacceptable, And you heard already that men and predators are driving to buy sex from what they think is a child. We have to come together as a community to stop this. Polk County Sheriff's Office inviting us to participate in this sting is one of the many examples of how much they care. Together, we're both passionate about stopping sex trafficking. We're passionate about building communities where children and teenagers can grow up and not have to worry about being vulnerable, that there are people out there wanting to buy them and people out there wanting to sell them. This operation speaks to how much we all say this is unacceptable. It's a tragic injustice. It's a generational problem often. You know, the adult women, many of them have been victimized when they were younger. We got to come into contact with teenagers who do not even know the people out there trying to buy them. They are vulnerable and they need help. They need our services. And through this operation and our partnership, we were able to offer that. People should not be bought. People should not be sold. Through this operation, we were able, in partnership with Open Doors Outreach Network, where One More Child, we are a provider. We are able to offer services to 25 individuals. That's 25 lives who have the opportunity to change. At One More Child, we offer those wraparound services in 9 counties. The Open Doors Outreach Network services in total are offered in 32 counties. And the One More Child Safe Home for trafficked minor teenagers and children serves throughout the state of Florida. Operations like this make sure that we're able to put a stop to these generational cycles. We're able to make sure that we send a loud message that it is not okay to buy people for sex. If you or anyone you know has a history of exploitation and is in need of services, please contact One More Child. You can reach us at onemorechild.org. And again, thank you to the Polk County Sheriff's Office for allowing us to participate, and thank you to all of those who came and served. We're grateful to live in a community that cares.
Before I close this out, as you look at this group of prostitutes, I want you to understand that every one of them may be a victim of human trafficking. When you look at the history and who got them into the business and how they got into the business, the stories they tell are frightening. And the really great thing about our teamwork that we have today with One More Child Anti-Trafficking Organization is that they will follow up with every one of these folks. Now, they interacted with them the night that they came to deliver services, but what makes this successful is that they don't give up on them. We're short-term problem solvers. We stopped the problem that night, but we have to go on to other criminal conduct. The beautiful thing about our partnership is they're going to follow up day after day, week after week, month after month, and they won't give up on these ladies. So thank you all very much, because our goal is to help these, and many times they fight us and resist us at the front end of this process. But when they see someone like these ladies care and they don't give up, we can be successful. So with that, we'll take any questions that you may have.
Craig, you said 1/3 of the people are from Polk County, and you also pointed out that they should know better. So many folks are not getting the message.
Do you know, it's interesting that many agencies, police agencies across the state and nation, don't enforce these laws.